Hello guys, Joker the Fool here, back at it again with the 116th episode of the Braxcast. So, got quite a bit of stuff to talk about. It's exciting. Of course, I did talk about this on live stream yesterday, but there was this pretty big story that I believe Merc Lounge, who's a fan of the channel, broke. And of course, this was something that after he posted about on the Discord server, everybody really got crazy on. So there's a bunch of books in the future release schedule that were shown on Walmart's site. So a bunch of listings on Walmart for a bunch of books. And this is stuff like relating to the Exclave event. So for Sersha, Horseman Alpha Core, a whole bunch of other stuff. There's a full list of books I talked about in live stream yesterday. I'm not going to post it up here. I don't think it's 100% necessary. I'd rather talk about these books like as they come out. And with how quickly stuff is releasing, it doesn't seem like we'll have to be waiting too long for that, because we do have 2 new releases, and one of them was actually one of the books that I believe was part of that week, and it is Santwan Exclave. So of course the Exclave event started with number 0. We got number 1 both up for pre-order pretty quickly, and there's a whole bunch of character tie-in books. We're getting Yaira Exclave, if I remember correctly, and a couple of others, and of course there's going to be more coming up in the works, but the one that we have is Santwan Exclave. So this is going to be releasing on the 17th of November 2026, with the pre-order cutoff being the 28th of August for the free exclusive covers. And this is a 56-pager by Eric July and Ricardo Jamie, and it's basically going to delve into Santwan's character. Of course, Santwan was revealed in ISOM number 1. He was one of the first named characters of the Rippaverse. So when I was speculating very early on the Rippaverse, about 4 years ago at this point, time flies, I was thinking Santwan would be getting his own series. But of course, we've got Horseman, Zalen, Bloodroof, Gooding, all these characters that were revealed after the release of ISOM number 1. And of course, Yaira and Alpha Core, definitely more popular than Santwan. Not to say Santwan's not a cool character, but he just doesn't have the precedence that those characters did in the Rippaverse. But Santwan is getting his own book. This is relating to the Exclave event. So as has been established by Eric July, the Exclave event is going to follow primarily Isom, Bloodroof, and Gooding. And then what happens with the other characters will be explored in their own, basically, mini-series that tie into the Exclave event. So this is a massive crossover, and I'm really excited to get into all of this. I think it's the right time to be doing a crossover event with the fact that we got the free issues of Isom, and I said those free issues of Isom were like after that third issue. I'm like really excited for what happens next, and Exclave is happening next, and all this other really cool stuff is happening as well. But there are 4 covers for this book, so usual. So we'll get to cover A, which is by Edu Mena, and Daniel Vasquez is the colorist. Cover B is by Igor Vittorino, with Felipe Felix being the colorist. Cover C, the foiled and embossed cover, is by Giussi Lo Piccolo, with Felipe Felix being the colorist again. And Gianluca Gugliotta is the cover artist for cover D, with Sebastian Cheng being the colorist. And these are all 4 pretty bog standard covers. None of them really leap out to me as being like super good. They're not bad by any means, but this is definitely going to be like an action-packed heavy story. Definitely love to see that. It's going to, I think, really jive with Santwan's character, seeing him just basically lay the smackdown on a bunch of devlings. And this is going to be a 56-pager, if I did not mention before. That is the typical format that all of these books are getting, is that 56-page, which I think is pretty good. And especially if Hachette, or not if, Hachette is doing the distribution for these books and they're going for global distribution. We saw the Walmart listings. You're going to be in Barnes & Noble, and it's going to be at libraries and all over the place. So having that standardized format is going to do wonders in keeping that release schedule consistent. And we do have something else as well. So the launch of a new imprint. This is Rippaverse Backyard. So you can see Rippaverse Backyard right there. So starting with children's books. And this is going to be the first one, Vassie and the Mightiest Thing. Vassie is, of course, the niece of Avery Silman. She lost her father, Terrell, I believe, in a Texas oil rig accident. I could be getting my lore wrong on that. And this is basically Vassie's being taught what the Mightiest Thing was by her father, and Avery and her family are going to carry on that work. A very simplistic children's book. This is going to release the 15th of September, 2026, with June 26th being the pre-order cutoff. And I would imagine that's just for the Certificate of Authenticity. This is an $18 book. You can pay $45 to get it signed with a Certificate of Authenticity, if that's your jive. And this is written by Art July with Matteo Luccietti, who is the Detention Crew artist. And Felipe Felix is the colorist for this book. So it's got this, nice blocky, cartoony style that's going to really jive with the kids. I did get a copy of this for the character card primarily. I will go over this on the Braxcast. I'm not going to give this a full review because I don't really think it needs that, but I'll cover it on Braxcast. I'll read it and see what I think, and then I will give it away to somebody who actually has kids, because I do not. I don't think I ever will, but I'm not going to speak for myself. I need to go into my personal life or whatever. But anyways, I do love the fact that this imprint exists. I did mention on live stream yesterday that there are a whole bunch of things you could do in terms of children's stories. You could do Yaira and Yashua as children. You could do stuff with, I didn't mention this, but it's just coming to mind, but Avery and Altona as kids. You have the Twin Tricks story. You could do, those two characters. There's just a lot of stuff that you could do with younger characters for the Rippaverse Backyard imprint. And of course, not necessarily having to just do Rippaverse stuff. You could just use it to publish children's books that, jive well with the, I guess, mission goal of what the Rippaverse is, and say this is not a canon book. But I think it's probably not going to be the case, since it is Rippaverse. It's probably going to feature Rippaverse characters aimed for kids, considering that, Vassie is a character that appeared in Isom #1. She's Altona's daughter. She's Isom's niece. So, of course, she is part of the Rippaverse, and it does make sense to only have Rippaverse characters be the subject of Rippaverse Backyard books. And like I said, I think there's a lot of content that you could get from the Rippaverse and make it in a way that's friendly for kids. And this book is also coming with a character card. And I am getting that as well. So I'm going to get Vassie's character card, and I'll read that as well. That's one of the reasons why I did get this book as well, even though I am not a literal baby. But still really interesting stuff. Absolutely love to see the consistency of the Rippaverse. I really find it interesting that this leak situation with Walmart and other sites are happening like this. This is stuff that I've seen with like Nintendo in the past. So it just shows to me that the Rippaverse is a real big player here to stay for years to come when stuff like this happens. But we'll be covering everything as it releases. You can check out Merc Lounge's video for that full schedule of release books. And I'm not sure if those listings are still up. They're probably privated at this point. Somebody must definitely got yelled at. But I want to leave it there. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Joker is out.
Thank you for tuning in to the Braxcast. Be sure to like, comment, follow, and subscribe to keep up with the Rippaverse.